Surprise, 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 surprise. You're much better looking when you're in disguise. Today, we are making yet another Detroit Red Wings video because, as I said, I'm going on a trip. I'm going to be in the States. Hello, Seattle. And so with this in mind, I needed to get some topics out there, just dive into some conversations that have been going. And recently, one of the biggest topics that has taken over the hockey world has been the World Juniors. Now, unfortunately, I am recording this video on Saturday, December 28th. And it's like the afternoon here. So I'm technically watching Vancouver, Seattle right now, but the reason I say that is because some of the World Junior games that have been going on have not actually gone on yet at the time of me talking into this microphone. So we're going to be building off of some conversation points from a few days ago and just hoping that it flies still here as a profitable video topic, because I wanted to talk about the Vancouver Canucks and I also wanted to talk about the Detroit Red Wings and whether or not Vancouver, Patrik Allvin, took himself a really nice, crisp box, wrapped it up nicely with the corners all straightened out, put a pretty little bow on it, and sprinkled some glue glitter on top, and gifted a wonderful, wonderful gift to Steve Yzerman. Did Patrik Allvin gift the Detroit Red Wings this player? Let's go out there and dive into it. So today we're talking about Axel Sandin Pellikka, and it's always going to be a conversation point for the rest of this guy's career, pretty much, about Vancouver, but the reason we are talking about ASP once more is because of his dominance at the World Juniors this season. At the time of recording this audio, ASP has 2 games played, he's got 3 goals and an assist for 4 total points, and yeah, it's kind of weird because he had 4 points in the first game against Slovakia, plus a hat trick, but in an 8-1 victory over Kazakhstan, ASP had 0 points. Kind of weird how that goes, but still, I mean, Team Sweden won, so I don't really think anybody's complaining, but ASP not getting anything on the board against a weak Kazakhstan team, kind of funny when you consider that he's one of only 5 players on that team to have not scored a point. But still, when it comes to Axel Sandin Pellikka, he has been so good, so dominant, so in control of everything, that we are seeing a lot more discussion getting brought up as to whether or not Vancouver made themselves a good choice. And what exactly is the choice that we're talking about? Well, X-Tech went out there and tweeted this. It's in response to Axel Sandin Pellikka's hat-trick goal from December 26. Detroit drafted Axel Sandin Pellikka with the Canucks pick that was used to get Filip Hronek, by the way. And this X-Tech tweet, because X-Tech, of course, is a legend in this community, 97,000 views on the reply tweet, 355 likes, and 52 replies. The top reply, I wanted to go out there from Nikhil, reads this. The Canucks got a legitimate number 2 defender in Hronek and have made a complete 180 as a team since he was acquired. I would do this trade and run away laughing once again. And the funny part is you have a lot of other replies saying similar things here. I get it, it's very Vancouver to do the doom and gloom thing. Oh yeah, look at that, the Canucks had a draft pick and they sent the pick away and this guy was taken and now the guy's really good. Dylan Guenther is the easiest comparable to go out there and use that for because he has been so fantastic with Utah, and of course Jim Benning had to trade that draft pick that was used to acquire him away for some behemoth contracts like Oliver Ekman-Larsson. But still, it's a very Vancouver thing to retrospectively look at players and prospects that the Canucks could have had and say, oh yeah, well, sucks that they got rid of him. With Axel Sandin Pellikka, though, it's a lot more different. Because while it's true that he is a super talented prospect, a very good player, it just doesn't align, unfortunately. Sure, the Vancouver Canucks have some younger Swedes in their system, like Karamäki, Willander. If they didn't make the Hronek trade, they would maybe even have ASP right now. I don't know, it's possible, but it's not guaranteed. Had the Canucks had a pretty stacked prospect pool, including those 3 Swedes, though, right now, how much would that really be helping the team in the moment? I think the Vancouver Canucks and their current progression, what they're trying to build, is more so in line with a cup contention identity, whilst Quinn Hughes is still on that $7.8 million AAV that he is on. That contract expires in 2027, so you can say that the Canucks' forced open window right now is within that time frame. I'm sorry, but if you assume Axel Sandin Pellikka was on Vancouver instead of Phil Hronek, you wouldn't really be getting much out of ASP, Willander, and Karamäki on the Vancouver Canucks until maybe 2026, or 2027 if you're a little bit less optimistic there. The Vancouver Canucks timeline, their window of opportunity, started when Quinn Hughes signed that extension. So 2022, 2023-ish is when they entered it, and now in 2024, they are in this window. For as good as Axel Sandin Pellikka is, he is still in the SHL. Tom Willander still in BC. Lekkerimaki, not a full-time NHL guy just yet. He was in the Allsvenskan just a while ago. So a lot of these guys are not really aligning with the Vancouver Canucks competitive window with Quinn Hughes on this stellar contract. Phil Hronek, as banged up as he has been recently, is much better for what Vancouver is trying to build in the moment. And it's not like they gave up significant long-term value when you consider the fact that Hronek is still decently young himself. We say this almost every video, but if Axel Sandin Pellikka becomes a player like Filip Hronek in the future, then you're probably happy with that. Sure, I'd say that ASP has the potential to become more, maybe a right-handed version of a Lane Hudson or a Quinn Hughes-esque power play quarterback. Phil Hronek isn't necessarily that, but you could debate that there's a lack of opportunity in Vancouver to be a power play quarterback with Quinn on the team. So when you think about it, trading away ASP for Phil Hronek is almost like just moving forward the clock a few years in time. And it fits because Vancouver's timeline is more so in this realm, wherein Phil Hronek is a competitive NHL player today, and Axel Sandin Pellikka is unfortunately more so in the SHL. Not helping out Detroit at the moment, but still giving Red Wings fans a lot to cheer for into the next few years. In fact, I think a lot of Canucks fans, even though X-Tech is a Canucks fan, he went out there and still made this tweet. A lot of people are replying saying, yeah, no, I'm okay with this trade. It's a good one for Vancouver. They got a valuable piece in Hronek. Win-win trade. That's sort of the label here. I've always stood by that assessment that this is a win-win trade. And for ASP, even though he is doing very well at the World Juniors, I don't think many Canucks fans should be looking at this performance and being all FOMO about it because, hey, this guy was a Canucks draftee. It's easier to say that with Dylan Guenther, because Dylan Guenther has more points than any Canucks forward does right now at this point in the season. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, right? I had to double check that too. Maybe it's going to be outdated by the time this video is published on YouTube, but still, Guenther, I'd say, is a lot more easy to do that with, because had the Vancouver Canucks just let the Eriksson, Roussel, and Beagle contracts expire, had they not acquired OEL and bought him out, had they just kept Dylan Guenther, things would have been a lot better. But of course, you could also say that they ended up acquiring Connor Garland in that trade too, so maybe there was some good in it. But at the end of the day, Vancouver, Detroit, Axel Sandin Pellikka is the question. Did Steve Yzerman grab a huge gift with this entire transaction, and did Patrik Allvin succumb himself to the Yzer plan in this move over a calendar year ago? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Honestly, I don't really think it's that bad. I think it's more of a win-win here, but still, with the World Juniors going out there and taking up all of our peripheral vision, the Axel Sandin Pellikka conversation is going to be pretty prominent this season, especially with him being one of the most important players on Team Sweden as a whole. So thoughts in the comment section below between Canucks and Red Wings fans. What are your thoughts on the ASP for Hronek trade? I also didn't mention this at all, but Phil Hronek didn't really fit with the timeline that the Wings were trying to build. Sure, you can say that Hronek is in the same age range as Dylan Larkin, but ultimately, the Wings were going down a different direction, and with Mo Seider and Edvinsson's progression onto the team, you can say that there wasn't really too much room for a guy like Phil Hronek. Sure, he's better than Jeff Petrie. That's 100% for sure. I mean, the Wings' decor right now is kind of a mess, especially with the departures of guys like Wallman and Gostisbehere. If you think about all that, then it becomes a little bit FOMO-y from Detroit's POV, but for ASP, he is such a good consolation prize, and the Red Wings can afford to kind of waste away at the bottom of the standings for a few more years whilst they figure out what to do with some of these more beefy contracts like Kopp and Sherrod, etc. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the ASP trade, and how do you feel about ASP's performance? If you're a Canucks fan, are you sour graping about the FOMO of not having ASP? It wouldn't have even been guaranteed that the Canucks drafted him had they kept their pick in the 2023 NHL Entry Draft? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But at the end of the day, they already have Willander, they have Lekkerimaki, those are trade chips. If ASP was on the Canucks, I think that he would have been a trade chip too, to be honest. But thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.